Hey guys, it's Winning the Gamer Girl here, and the reason why I'm going to make this video a little short is because I have a lot of things to do, and basically, my group assignment, I only have one more part, and so since I'm really busy starting from the Hari Raya break because I can only upload a few videos. But anyways, let's get started. So actually, I'm going to do a short tribute to one of the members of the Bay City Rollers who passed away on this day back 4 years ago on April 20th, 2021. And yes, he did had a horrible experience back then during his Rise of Fame, if you don't know what I seriously mean. Okay, so actually, being only at 18 years old, joining the band in 1973, this actually added this one to the lineup as, Gordon Noby Clark was actually leaving the band. And because of this, over the last 7 or 8 years, if I'm not mistaken, the original members actually were in the band, especially the early members that were in here before. They joined another band from Scotland which is called Pilot. So actually, yes, that's actually all I knew from the Wikipedia the last time. And as well as this, back in 1973, there was actually an 18-year-old boy who really loved to sing, and singing was what he wanted to do. He touched our souls, he touched our hearts. So that's actually one of the reasons that he joined the band, but it wasn't exactly choice, according to his autobiography. And as well as this, during the rise of Rollermania, he did suffer so many tragedies during his rise of fame. For example, yes, I read it up that he was the one involved in an accident that involved an elderly woman being killed. It was really sad, it was devastating, and he was traumatized. But eventually things started to get really worse for him, because I do recall him being in an Oxford gig along with his bandmates, and although it went smooth, but unfortunately things went wrong. Because of this, he actually used a mic stand and beat up a photographer at a gig. This is one of the scariest moments that actually happened. Another incident that actually happened is when he was actually accused of firing a dangerous weapon towards a 15-year-old. Now this is actually really scary, and I heard he suffered the worst according to the documentary that I have saw on YouTube. Yeah, it was really sad. I feel really sorry for the family which went through this, and how he actually had been suffering the worst because of his manager. And actually, not only that, I also saw that during a tour in America, I heard that he was actually drugged and then abused by his manager at just 19 years old during a US tour. I think Les actually suffered the worst from his bandmates, and as well as this, I cannot believe what this manager has done to them, especially for the poor frontman. I feel really sad. I felt really bad for him. And as well as this, he never deserved all this. And actually, when things went downhill in 1977, they released their last single, You Make Me Believe in Magic, and that was their actually final UK single and their final major hit. And Rollermania was clearly over because of the trends changing. But in 1978, here's the thing that actually started this. So eventually, if you haven't read this nostalgia page, so it actually features the reason why he got sacked from the band. And the cause of it is when he was in the Japan tour with his bandmates, unfortunately things started to go really bad. And because of this, Woody actually kicked him off the stage, and that caused the band to split up. Not only that, the show, which is actually called the Cross Superstar Hour, was definitely a big mistake. And because of this, it didn't match the theme for the band, and eventually this was actually aimed for more preteens. So actually, if you just compare this to Shang-a-Lang, which is a show, as I actually mentioned this earlier, I do believe that Shang-a-Lang was actually the most popular show among those teenage girls. It's really, really successful, and it's also been 50 years since the show was released. It was really, really successful until their final date, which was on August of 1975. And that was actually their final show where they sang Shang-Lang. But they did have a Christmas special, which did involve a lot of, the singers that were actually involved in the special. So actually, if you just count this one, there's 20 episodes including one special. So it's not exactly a movie. And actually, in their YouTube video, they only have like one full episode. The rest of them are like cut off, so you can just check it out. I'm not gonna mention the name. I want to keep this one quiet. I want to keep this one as private because I don't want to mention anyone's name in the video. And because of this, I just only wanted to mention only some of it, not all of it. And eventually, sometimes when you're in a band like that, you face difficulties with your manager, your bandmates. Yes, I do see this happening because not only it does happen in the 70s, but it happens now because actually I do see a lot of reports complaining about the abuse, like, sexual abuse that was actually here. It was really, really scary. And I couldn't believe what was there. So actually, when Les left the band in 1978, he began to do a solo career. But he couldn't do it in the UK because it was really unsuccessful, and because, he wasn't able to launch it. So when he went to Japan, he actually launched his first solo album, which is called All Washed Up, along with the band Ego Trip. And that was actually a band from 1979 till 1982. I think they split up already, and because of this, during reunion tours back in the 80s, they made up for another one in Japan. But things actually went really bad, so they actually made their own versions of their Bay City Rollers, And actually, I noticed that the lead singer of the Bay City Rollers has been dealing with some issues and trauma ever since his rise of fame. And there's also an episode on Rehab, Living TV, where he actually talks about his experiences and what happened to him during his rise of fame. And as well as this, yes, this is all true because actually when he was abused, he couldn't tell anyone. And I do recall that this was actually from an article that I have read as well. So yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I read this article earlier. And actually it says that he never found peace and he screamed and cried in his sleep, which was really, really bad because, he was not the only member that was actually abused by the manager. Several others were actually abused by their manager as well, especially for Ian Mitchell and Pat McGlynn. But because of this, Ian and Pat actually left within months with each other. And because of this, I've noticed that there were lots of tragedies with the band as well, and I'm not 100% sure what could be the reason. And actually, this is one of the reasons why you have to be very, very careful when you're in a band, and sometimes you face all these kinds of mistreatment, abuse. Yes, this actually does happen a lot, not only in this generation but in other generations as well, especially in K-pop as well, because I do recall that the New Jeans members were actually facing a lot of these issues ever since last year. It was really, really sad, but the good thing is that they did not get abused as the one I was actually saying previously, because actually in K-pop this also happens as well, but not 100% exactly, because I do see like there are some reports, but unfortunately they don't actually report it to the police. And actually, yes, this is one of the reasons why I want to bring this one up to my own experiences on what I've read and how is it actually different from what I've been seeing between pop and K-pop. And actually, yes, the ones I read, which are the articles that talks about how he did scream in his sleep and never recovered from the abuse. Yes, all of this is actually true. I'm not gonna pull the article up because I don't want to get into really big trouble, okay? So I just want to let it be for now. And actually, because of this, I don't think I want to pull this article up, because you know, sometimes this article may contain sensitive things that I don't think anyone would read. I'm really sorry, I don't want to do it, but I just want to say it in my own words and how I can do it in order to make this video good, okay? Alright, so anyways, yeah, and actually this is the video. This is a tribute video to one of the members of the Bay City Rollers, Les McKeown. He was actually a great performer on stage. He was a really nice person. He was very funny. He was really talkative, and as well as this, I noticed that he and Alan are close friends. I've read this like in an article once, but I cannot find it where it is. And actually, he didn't deserve the mistreatment that the manager made him do, because actually I've seen him in the picture back in the article. And as well as this, I've noticed that he was the one who started McKeown on drugs, which was definitely really sad. It was bad because, you know, he was the one that was sexually abused, you know. This actually made his life worse. It was really tragic, and I cannot believe what this manager has done to this poor guy. He never deserved anything like that to the manager, and because of this, he never found peace, according to his son. It was really sad, is because one, I've noticed that managers can sometimes be good, sometimes they can be bad. So actually, we've learned the moral of this kind of story that actually happened to him. So the moral is always be careful. Be careful when you're in a band. Remember, don't ever just say just because the manager is good doesn't mean they're good. Sometimes they can be bad managers, sometimes they can hurt you, sometimes they can abuse you, you know. And I do feel bad for him, because not only he was sexually abused, but he suffered tragedies, you know, that actually happened during his rise of fame. And because of this, it allowed him to be sacked from the band in 1978, which definitely did hurt me the most, because, you know, 1978 was definitely a bad year for the Rollers, and they did have a lot of fights. So I wanted to say I'm really sorry for what these guys have gone through. And because of this, the manager was the one who did this to them. And I actually don't blame the band members, but I'm just going to say this one in my own words, that yes, the manager is really bad, and I heard that their manager got fired after McKeown left. So that's actually the reason why he was fired from the band, and thank goodness that, you know, they never had that manager ever again. But they're still recovering for the missing millions that they've earned, and I do believe that all of them were actually exploited by their manager, so it was actually really sad. But anyways, guys, I don't want to make this video more than 15 minutes. I'm gonna stop right here, and I just wanted to say this: rest in peace, Les. You're a great singer, and thank you for the music. Your voice has touched our souls, and as well as this, keep on rolling in heaven.